Scott, I'm off camera and you can't see me. And do you know why?
No, I don't know why.
Because Jessica messed up and didn't change the signs behind me for fireside chats to Outwired. So she didn't want to be on camera. So I took myself off camera for a second so she could swap the signs. And
apologize, all the Outwired
should
guests.
apologize to all the Outwired people, Scott.
And you're just the bee, the bouncing bee.
Yeah, I'm just the bouncing bee. But so, like, let's talk. Like, we're gonna have an interesting show today. I'll be back on camera in a second, but we're gonna talk about like the really interesting, like, how we feel like technology can be utilized in campgrounds today in 2025, because there's all kinds of things that are just not being utilized, like robot lawnmowers and different things like that, right? Some cool stuff that we're going to be able to like show some YouTube videos of, and I think it'll be really cool. Look at that. That was quick, wasn't it? Nobody would probably noticed that I was gone anyway. But the people who are listening on the video, they're like, oh, the show is much nicer. It's just the attractive Scott Barr here and not the ugly Brian. So I should probably just not call attention to it. But so like I think there's some interesting things there, that like there's a lot of tech that's using a little bit of AI, but is also just very beneficial from a smart, dynamic, operational standpoint. And then I know you want to talk a little bit about information gathering and like some really cool stuff we're going to get into there. And then we're going to like go way ahead, right? Like I want to go way ahead to like 2050, 2075. And I want to say like, I want to see how well this ages, right? I want to create a show where like, if people, assuming we don't get wiped out by AI, if people are still alive in 50 years and they come back and watch the show, or it's programmed into AI or whatever it is, or it's a hologram in their living room, that would be really scary to have a hologram of me and you in their living room, wouldn't it?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I know people want that.
Let's hope that future doesn't happen. But so, like, I just want to see if it ages well. I think it'll be really, really, really fascinating to see if it does. So before we start there and before we go into all that, what's one thing that kind of came across your desk in the last month or so, or week or so? Sorry. 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks for us.
It's been 2 weeks. It seems like it's been a lot. It's been a whirlwind. You know, I actually had a lot to say. I was thinking about this before. It's like, one, with traveling and being really sick. I got really sick for the last week, and I'm just starting to feel better. So
why do you do that? I can give you like all kinds of supplements so you don't get sick, Scott.
I rarely get sick. I that's the thing. It's like it, and it was bad. So
but didn't you get sick when you went to Arizona to the RVIA thing too?
Oh, that wasn't like a germ. That was something else.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I guess I'm sounding unhealthy, aren't I? Then when the day I got back, I got stung by a bee, and for the first time in my life, like my upper arm swelled up huge, and it was itchy and nasty, and it was bad. So I'm like, okay, but I really.
Are you allergic to bees?
What's that?
Are you allergic to bees, or are you just?
No, I'm not. I've never had anything like that before.
So it could have been like a robot bee assassin from like a competitor.
May have been someone is stalking me.
Makes a lot of sense.
With their killer bees. But the thing, you know, that I thought would be good to mention was just the reason for being away. For me, was I was in Michigan for my Uncle Charlie's 90th birthday. And I lived with Uncle Charlie, my sisters, and I did from the time we were pretty young. And I always think about, like, when you see him, it's hard to believe he's 90. Most people are like, wow. Mm-hmm. He's like, and you know what it is he just moves. And I think that that to me is this theme. It's like, if you do anything, just move. Just get up and move. Just get up and do stuff. I mean, I was thinking about this when we were back there. Like, I remember, like, he would work, you know, he was a blue collar worker, but he'd come home and it's like, oh, we need something from the store. And he's like, oh, I'll go get it. And he would walk to the store after working an 8-10 hour shift, you know. But that was just that's how he's always been. He still splits wood at age 90, you know. So that's what my thing. It's like, if people out there, if you could do anything, just keep the momentum going. It'll keep you going.
Move, don't sit like we are on the podcast. We should do the podcast while we're walking.
Yeah, we should. We should get
in place walking,
glasses and whatever, and
follow our own guidelines. Yeah.
yeah.
No, like I'm big into supplementation, but I don't disagree with you. Like I think like movement, exercise, just walking every day, right? Like people undercount like the number of steps, and so do I, to be clear, right? Like I probably in a given work day just take about maybe 3,000 steps a day, maybe 2,000 steps a day, but it really should be closer to like 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And my Whoop band yells at me everywhere and talks to me about it. But just that thing alone, and like I'm not a doctor. You shouldn't listen to me. This is not a show about supplements. We're not going to talk about this for very long. But like just that stuff alone has taught me that, like, I think I read somewhere that like taking X number of steps, I think over 5,000 or 6,000 steps a day. My girlfriend was reading it to me the other day, lowers like all cause mortality by 17% or something like that. It's something crazy like that.
Yep.
It's the same thing with fiber. Like I've been learning more about fiber and how we're chronically deficient in fiber in Western society. Like the WHO recommends something like, I don't know, 30 to 38 grams of fiber a day for an average male. And like a really, really healthy person that eats salads and nuts every day gets like 16. So like, but again, that's another thing, like 30% lower cause of mortality. But to your point of moving and walking around, like it's really interesting to me. Like I was watching something the other day on YouTube where they were talking about sunlight and the benefit of sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting outside and seeing all that stuff. And one of the stats that stood out to me was like you have just as much chance of dying early from a disease if you are not outside as you do if you are a regular smoker. Like if you're not regularly exposed to sunlight. So it's pretty, like, I think that was, I don't know what that study exactly was. I don't want to cite it. Again, I'm not saying like, but it was something like that, right? I don't know how often the people who weren't exposed to sunlight went outside, but it was all cause like mortality again. It's crazy. Like obviously you should still go outside and you should not smoke anyway. You should do both, right? But
Right.
but they were equal in the two things. I smoked till I was like 25. I don't know if you ever told you that.
No.
Like it was just one of those things I got started with, like my friend Andy down the street when I was a kid. His mom never was like one of those moms that would just like do whatever you want, kids. My mom wasn't like that, but like, so everybody would go hang out at Andy's house. And so that's where we had like the first cigarette and the first beer. And like, then, we thought we were cool. And then, yeah. I actually quit smoking. Not that anybody wants to know this. I quit smoking because my grandma offered to buy me a TV if I did.
Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes.
Yeah. And I quit cold turkey too. I didn't use any patches. I didn't do anything. I just quit cold turkey. Like 10, 12 days, I think. I didn't really have too many of the shakes or whatever. Because I tried the Chantix patches or whatever they have, and that just it didn't. No, wasn't for me. So anyway, but I'm glad to be healthy again. But that stuff is very important to pay attention to, especially as you get older. Like just the moving and the stretching. There was Jessica watches a show called Diary of CEO. Did you see the new one? They're talking about stretching with a Jeff somebody who's like a former baseball trainer. And he was saying, like, if you just need to stretch and move and do certain exercises and move like, it doesn't matter even if you exercise every day, like you need that stretching. You'll just feel so much better. And I don't stretch like I should. But anyway, so should we talk about something that we know something about?
Yeah, we might.
I mean, I like to pretend I know something about this stuff. And I take a lot of supplements all the time. But so where do we want to start here? Where do we want to start this journey? Into the campground of the future, or let's start with the campground of the now, because we talked a little bit about the campground of the future,
right?
That KOA put out 2 weeks ago on our show, and then we went back to like 1975, 2000, all the way up to 2025, but we didn't really touch on the campground of the now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to set the preface of this because many of you have known that like I have an AI that posts for me on LinkedIn. And one of the things that it constantly will post about is like how campgrounds looked in 1975, looked in 2000, like what the thing was. It picks a task, what it looked like for a campground owner to do that in 75 versus 2000 versus 2025. And frequently I'll see it like come up with things that like, oh, I didn't even realize that was possible in 2025. But it is with a quick Google search, right? Like
Mhm.
you're like, oh, this vendor just they don't target campgrounds, maybe, but they've got an AI security system with facial recognition that automatically ties into your gate, that ties into your system, that does right. And you're like, oh, that's pretty neat. Like you could actually put that together at a campground today. And so I think that rightfully so, some of us get lost in the outdoors as we should. And we should be disconnected from technology and we should enjoy nature and we should let that stuff go to the wayside. But also, there's a place I think that, and it's why it's important for me to talk about this too. There's a place where technology assists in enjoying the outdoors. And some of it seems like it's hard to overcome. Like you're staring at technology that you've never operated before, you never thought of before. You don't know how you're going to put it together or how to connect the systems, or you need the Wi-Fi guy, and the Wi-Fi guy's not there, and you don't know how to connect the new technology to your Wi-Fi system, and so it's overwhelming, right? And so it feels like that not only is it stressful from a business perspective, but it's taking away you as the owner or the manager or the worker's time from the outdoors. And then it just gives you this whole negative perception around technology as a whole, right? And certainly some tech is like that. Not all tech is is what we want. But I think it's really interesting to just kind of think outside the box and imagine how some of this technology can help funnel people toward a greater outdoors. Like we were joking on MC Fireside Chats earlier. I had Michelle Bisson in there from and Kurt Wilkins, Chris Wilkins from Our Journey, and we were just having the show went a little bit long, but we were talking about the human experience at campgrounds and how that we feel like that's always going to be a part of the experience, right?
Right.
And I think it will in some capacity. I think the last surviving job at a campground is going to be the person who goes around and shakes everybody's hand and says, "Hey, how you doing?" And let's the personal, right? The concierge type person, and that
Right.
may be the owner, or it may be somebody that they hire that's personal or whatever else. But we were joking around, us playing devil's advocate, and I said, "Well, what if you have a robot?" And this, like again, I'm not married to the idea that human experience has to be there because I think there's going to be a very quick blurring of line when humanoid robots come out in like 10, 15 years where they look exactly like us. And like, I don't know if you ever saw that movie Artificial Intelligence that Steven Spielberg produced. It's
Mhm.
old. But where like the only real way you can tell is by the barcodes, right? That they have on them or their chest or wherever the guy had the barcode, that lover robot or whatever. For people who haven't seen the movie, they're like, what are you talking about? Is it some kind of crazy love movie? But so like I think we head toward a future like that, right? And I think society becomes more accepting of this quicker than people imagine, as we are generally speaking. I feel like we've made significant progress in the last 10, 20 years as a global society towards being more accepting of all kinds of people as we should be, right? And so I think that that contributes toward the accepting of these robots. But when they look like us and they talk like us and they sound like us, that human touch, like that line gets blurred pretty fast, right? And what happens when you can have an AI robot greeter go to your campers and say like, "Hey, is there anything I can do to make your stay better?" "Yeah, I wish I had an ice cream." And like the head opens up and they can just make an ice cream cone out of their head. And like, here's an ice cream cone for you. Is that better? I don't know. For sure, there will be campgrounds that exist, and I'm not saying that fits everywhere or that should be everywhere, or I want that. But it's just like we talk about the AI phone agents being able to call when you have a problem with your cable, and it can interface with all 8 departments at once, so it doesn't have to transfer you, and you don't have to wait on hold for 2 hours. Like, that's better than a human. So, like, I don't know what that line is. What do you think? Is there a line?
I I feel like there really is, and there probably is a line, and I think there will be some, you know, a certain number of people will adapt to it, and I think especially, and we'll see how the younger generation, does. But it feels to me that without that, um, I just can't buy into it in full force. I feel like
I'm not
There's
saying I can't either. I like the human experience at campgrounds.
and I think that draw, what I think will happen is people will have the option. You can have one or the other. You can go someplace and just have. It's like I don't want there to be any people there. I want the full automated. It's like this is it for me. But other people are going to want that, and they do that now to a degree.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not at the exact same level, obviously, but some people go to campgrounds where there's a lot of people and a lot more amenities and so on, whereas other people go where there's none. They want that to have that more isolated, rustic experience.
But where is that blurring of the line? And I'm not even talking about the crazy thing that I just talked about with ice cream, right? Or like the greeters. Although that would be really cool to have a robot that shoots ice cream out of its fingers. That'd be really nice. I'd
I
get
love
really,
ice cream.
I'd get really fat.
Anything with ice cream, I'm on board for. So whatever.
Yeah.
Build it.
Like,
I'll be there.
But where is the line? It's interesting, like, because to me, and this is going to sound crazy because I'm a big tech AI guy, but to me, I don't want to see anything tech when I'm out in nature, hiking on a waterfall trail, or like that's just not something that interests me, right? But at the same time, like, I feel like my perception could easily change if you said you can sit here for an hour longer with your feet on this rock, dangling off, looking at this waterfall, because you don't have to go back to the hotel for dinner. You can just pull up your phone, order a pizza, and the drone can drop it right at your feet at the waterfall, still hot. And you just sit here and look at that thing and have dinner with your girlfriend or whatever, right? I don't know that I would hate that. Would you?
I probably would. Yeah,
Why?
I think I would.
I'm just curious. Like, I'm not saying I would love it. Like, I'm saying you could talk me into it.
Because for me, it's like I compartmentalize the experiences.
Okay.
And I would compartmentalize that experience to be I'm in this moment and I want it to be like this. And when I eat my food, I want it to be compartmentalized at a different place in a different setting. I want the food part to be part of an experience, but not that experience.
Well, okay, so take a different example than food then, right? So maybe you're not the food person. Maybe you're the like I don't know, I need a chair, or I want to have I don't know, heck it, you get out to this great spot and you're like, "Man, I really wish I had brought my backpacking stuff with me. I'd like to pitch my tent right here." And you just go blue, and your drone picks it up and brings your tent out to you. And you can tent there. So it doesn't have to be food, right? But like none of that changes your mind?
Not really.
And I'm not saying it would for me either. I'm just saying like these are potential options for the future, right?
And they are, and again, it's going to be very individualized in terms of how people perceive that. It would, to me, that would take away some of the kind of pull of doing a backcountry stay, which is you're independent, you're self-supported. So you would lose that
but you
part
could
of the
be.
experience.
Go ahead, finish it. Sorry.
So if you lose that part of the experience, what you're having is it's a little bit more superficial. It lacks the depth of experience because you've just had all this automation has given you the opportunity to be in any situation where you don't have to be self-reliant at all.
Well, but how's that different than a Bic lighter instead of a fire starter with flint and steel?
I think it's quite a bit different.
I mean, it is. It is. It's not a
But-
black and white comparison, right? But technology, progress, things that make your life easier, a 4-season tent instead of a 2-season, a sleeping pad instead of laying on the ground. Like these are all convenience comforts that, yes, depending on whether you're a backpacker and you're traveling light with a day pack or you have your whole rucksack on the back of you or whatever, right?
And everybody kind of makes that decision when they go out in that kind of experience. Because I do know people who don't bring lighters with them, who do use flint and steel.
I use flint and steel.
who just use tarps, and don't even take a tent. So it's and there's kind of everything in between. I guess it depends at what level you're willing to that.
Well, that's the thing. So I think those people like you and maybe even me and the backpackers who truly go out in the wilderness like that are the people who will still prefer that. But I think if you look at society as a whole, and I think this is actually maybe a dangerous thing, but I think if you look at society as a whole, I think many more people would take that pizza delivery by the waterfall. But then the problem you're going to run into is the same problem you run into as we build more trails with more railings to more places is overcrowding and littering and trash and those kinds of, right? Like that somebody's going to drop pepperoni in the rocks and it's going to be a pepperoni sitting there, right? And then
Mhm.
everybody else has got to look at that stuff and then they're going to drop a piece of pizza in the water and it's going to like contaminate the fish and so like there's just and it's the same thing like with flying cars. Like this is what terrifies me about flying cars. I want them. I want to be able to escape as like I'm already 45 minutes from Banff and spoiled as fuck, right? But like I want to be able to still take that flying car and go up and go to Banff in 10 minutes, right?
Mhm.
Instead of driving down the road. But like my fear is that if it's that easy, if it becomes that easy to access nature, then you're going to get people into nature who don't care about as nature as much, who wouldn't put forth the effort, who will then make it like imagine I know flying cars are kind of quiet, which like it would terrify me if they were all helicopters and super noisy, right? But this is why I don't take helicopter tours, even though I thought about it. Like we had an opportunity in Churchill to take a helicopter tour to go see the polar bears. I'm like, fuck is the polar bear? Like polar bear is gonna be like, the fuck are you doing? Like I'm just trying to sit here
Right.
in my
Right.
little den or whatever, like, and you got this thumping little machine over me, like, go the fuck away. And so I'm worried how that's going to impact wildlife and nature. And I don't like, so there's good and bad sides to all this. And I try to see both of them, but
And
I don't know where that balance is, right? Like it's easier at a campground. And I know I'm talking a lot. I'll shut up in a second. I was, I was talking to, yeah, I was talking to Fireside Chats earlier where we had this idea like I want to go back and do a show and maybe we do this next week or whatever, but I want to go back and do a show and look at and maybe you know a little about this, but how did we get to the point where we created cookie cutter campgrounds? Like there must have been a reason behind it that was probably good, but how did we get to the point where not all, but a significant majority of what we call an RV park is RV sites that are so close together, that are short, that are have patios or don't have patio. Like, how did we get to that point versus developing? I know there's economics. I know there's reasons. I'm not suggesting it's the wrong decision or we did anything that we took a divergent path on, right? But it would be interesting to me to study how we got there versus how we are now beginning to evolve into smaller vans and car camping and glamping and more segregated experiences. Not segregated, but siloed. You understand what I'm saying? I think that would be for an interesting topic. What do you think?
I agree because I mean there is a lot behind that. A lot of the those types of campgrounds they came about during the era of people taking like their RV trips where they were you know overnighters. A lot of one night stays, driving multiple destinations in a single trip. They didn't stay in any one place very long. It
Yeah.
was that kind of adventurous, that road tripping mentality kind of pushed that forward, and a lot of the campgrounds adjusted, and thus, yeah, the sites got smaller. They were pull through, so you could come in and leave really quick. But now people are a little. One, you have more people staying a little bit closer to home, not as many long RV road trips as we used to have, and there's people want to stay on site and have everything right there, one stop shopping. So that's in a nutshell, very quickly. I think those are a couple of the trends that have really pushed that along.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me to see like and this is jumping ahead, so I don't want to go into like the future too much, right? But I was thinking about this the other day as I was doing research and prep for the show about how like the future would look like and how things, might or might not be and whatever, right? And you'll see, like I asked the AI to be like as conservative as possible when I was researching this. So like, you know, some of it I think is going to be in a faster timeline. But I started to think about like you look at something like a Tesla, right? Self-driving car. It's probably fully autonomous, but isn't really legally allowed to say that yet, right?
Right,
And certainly
right.
has room for improvement. Um, but I wonder, like all these things are going to be like for all the people who like let's take KOA Journey for example, right? I've long thought about like, well, what happens to those KOA journeys when you can in your autonomous RV or your Tesla drive from New York to LA and you don't have to stop along the way other than to recharge, right?
Right.
Like then it becomes a like why? If my destination is one of the other on the end, right? Obviously, if I'm stopping in the middle to see sights, that's a whole different thing. But then you're talking about still the holiday parks and the resort parks. You're not talking about the journey parks. That, and I don't mean to stereotype people into like they're calling themselves journeys. So like feel like they're stereotyping themselves already. So I can just join on the bandwagon that they put themselves in, right? So
Right.
like, but the journey parks along the highways, I've thought about like what is the future of that, and then I start thinking about Tesla as an example. And there's going to be many more self-driving electric cars. There are lots of electric cars. I think Tesla's just ahead on the self-driving piece of it. Um, but like what like why couldn't you create like a and I started thinking about rest stops in the beginning, but like campgrounds off the side of the road, right? Off an exit really quick.
Hmm.
Like why can't your self-driving Tesla just decide it needs to charge for the night and pull off the exit and pre-reserve a campground spot and pull into a quote unquote cabin and then dock with a Tesla? I know it sounds crazy, right? Like think of like the space station things that just right
Right, right,
seal around the Tesla or whatever car you have. The door opens into your living room and you have a bed and a kitchen and a bathroom, 10 square foot or whatever that you can just enjoy for the night while your Tesla charges. You can order dinner, you can do whatever you want, right? From like again, I don't know if that's economical or but like I think this it changes the whole thing of where we're going as an industry. It's always going to be about the outdoors. It's always going to be, I believe, about the human experience, even if it's less human experience than you have now. It's still going to always be there in some capacity. It's going to be important. Maybe not to every campground, but to a significant majority of them, I think it's going to be important to. Um, but I think there's just so many underutilized things that people aren't taking advantage of and aren't thinking of that can really complement this experience that can either easily be done or aren't millions of dollars to do that could drive so much extra revenue to parks today and long into the future. And I just think 50 years from now, that dynamic completely changes. I think there will be self-driving RVs. I think they'll look way cooler than they do now. I mean, they look pretty cool now, right? Depending on the model you're getting. Um, but I don't know. Like, I don't know what the behavior is of people when you don't need to stop between a destination anymore. Does that stop you exploring as much as you would? And does it leave the exploring to the purposeful people like you and me, for example, who like when I'm planning a trip, if I'm driving right by something, I want to see it. Like I want to stop at the waterfall, even if it's 20 minutes off the highway, right? If it's a
right,
really cool waterfall and like I can just drive and pull in and it takes me 2 extra hours, that's fine. And I think a large number of people who own RVs are that way, right?
correct,
I
correct.
think they are. And that's good. And I'm glad for that. And I don't think that should change, but will it? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see when the RV can self-drive itself and get you there. Just like, I slept on a train going from Edmonton to Winnipeg and Winnipeg to Churchill. And you just like, you woke up and you're like that much closer to your destination, right? I don't know how that changes behavior. What do you think?
And I mean, in all likelihood, it will, but it also may help to enhance that, to provide people with that ability to
Find it.
program it in there, program those stops, and say, "World's second biggest ball of string is off this exit. I want to see it."
Nobody wants to see that. Well, that's too many people want to see that. You should want to see the waterfall instead. I'm going to get preachy. Go ahead. Sorry, Scott.
But that kind of thing, and maybe that's again a step ahead. Thinking of the programming, it's like points of interest. You can program that in. Here's the things I like, and it may prompt you and say, "Hey, there's up here is such and such a place. Here's the waterfall. Here's the overlook, and do you want to pull off?" And you can just voice command and say, "Yes, please take me there." And
well, that's true too. I mean, that's true too. Like it will help with discovery, right? Like again, and we don't want to go down too much of the AI rabbit hole because we want to talk about the campground of the future. But when you have an AI that is your personal assistant that knows everything is connected to your life, which it will be in less than 2 years, then it's going to know that you like the waterfalls or you like the ball of string or whatever you do, right? The world's largest chair. Like, wait a minute, didn't I just see the world's largest chair like last state? Like, I swear they said they were the world's, right? But whatever, if you want to stop at them all and measure. But so, like, I think there's a place where the AI knows that you're interested in one thing over another. And then it's like, it just prompts you, right? It's like, hey, there's this thing coming up that's in a couple miles. Do you want to stop here? Like, there's a restaurant, and I know you like that to eat. It's off the exit too. There's a place for the kids to get out and stretch their legs. And there's a Tesla charging station too, or whatever it is, right? Tesla diner. Did you see that thing?
no,
we'll look at a video of a Tesla diner maybe later if we have time. So, like, I think there's an opportunity for, in that case, more discovery for the people who like that stuff. I think there's a whole lot more people that like the outdoors and would enjoy the camping experience than have otherwise been exposed to it for the reasons we've discussed previously on this show. You're in New York City. It's 2.5 hours to fight traffic. You don't own a car. Like, you've just never done it before. Like, I think there's a whole lot more people, if you exposed to the opportunity to do that with low stress, ease of entry. The AI can help you plan everything. It's not as scary. You know what you're going to do if you need to start a fire or whatever else, right? I think that just serves to benefit our industry tremendously.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right, so what do you want to talk about for information gathering before we get into 20, or do you want to do 2025 first and then do information gathering?
Let's do 2025 first.
Okay, so in other words, that you're like me, you didn't prep for the show and you just need to think of something real quick?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So I asked, there's a couple things here. Like, we'll take a look. It's a weird spelling thing. Jessica, look this up. I'll spell it for you on YouTube. I've actually never seen the video. It's HUS. What do you mean, hold on? You gotta be on top of the stuff. HUSQ VARNA. Husk.
Varna.
HUSQ Varna. Auto mower. Yeah, HUSQ VAR. No. 450X EPOS is what it says. 450X EPOS. See if there's a video for that. It should be like, I'm clicking it, and should be 4 minutes and 47 seconds long. I don't know. I don't care. 450X is the one that's pulled up. But anyway, so like, there's this thing. We're going to look at this video in a second. There's one example. But there's things that I think that park owners are unaware of at their campground right now that are very easy ins into facilitating the guest experience, to making it easier for people to get what they need to have a better outdoors experience at your campground, but to also making you more money too. And we're in it for both things, right? Like, we're in it to give people those happy memories. We're also in it to make money. Well, those of you who are brave enough to own a campground are. I'm not one of those, and neither is Scott Bear. You should own a campground though. We should just start a campground, Scott, like you and me.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I'm not ready yet. You really need like a mic over there so everybody can hear you talking at the same, like, so we can have the banter going back and forth. So like, so things like this, like a robot lawnmower, for example, Are they perfected yet? No, but they're really, really good. And those things can map out your park, and they can know the boundaries, and they can go all over, and they can do all the things at your property. But even things that are less technological like that, like the simple placing of QR codes by your pool to allow people to, my kids in the pool, I realized that they would like a floaty or something to play with. I don't know where I'm going to get one. I don't have one. I'm sorry, child, right? Because maybe you didn't go into the campground store and maybe you don't realize that you sell floaties. But even if you have, you're not going to get your kid out and dry them off or leave them alone in the pool to go to the camp store to buy a floaty. But if there's a QR code that you can scan and you're presented with a menu option of floaties that you can get from the store and a bunch of other stuff, maybe a soda or a pizza, and you can just have it delivered to you, you better believe you're going to sell more things out of your store. You just have to put a QR code on all the tables or the chairs or whatever, right? And so there's little things like that. I think we talked last week about those stores from the Campground of the Future. I won't take credit for those. Those are KOA's idea, right? Or your idea, or whoever's a combination of everybody's idea, Mark Kep's. But putting those on the sites, like, and whether they're on the individual sites or whether they're on, scattered throughout your campground, if the kids were walking by that on their way, put it on the path to the playground. If the kids are walking past that on their way to their playground, they're like, oh shit, there's a nice little $50 toy in there that I have to walk past twice on my way to my camp, on the way to the playground, on the way back. Do you think that toy is going to be in there when that kid leaves? No. They're going to talk to their mom about it every single time they walk about it. Mom, please, mom, please, mom, please, mom, please. It's going to have like a 90% close rate. And you're just going to be able to sell more stuff out of your campground that will make that child's experience better at the campground, give them better memories, and make you more money. You put in firewood, you do all those kinds of things, right? And so those are 3 examples. But let's look at a robot lawnmower real quick. I've never seen this video. I don't know if it's going to be good. But ChatGPT found it for me like a half a second before the show. So just hit share and we'll watch this. So this is a small one. All right, so stop this one. I want to see if you can find a commercial one. And I want to show that. So this is a small one for your house, right? But they have ones that are probably like 10 times this size now, if not even bigger, that are being used in MLB baseball stadiums, that are being like, these things are commercial, they're big, they will last throughout your whole, like they're not going to get run over by some kid on the bike, right? Like that one might. But it would be interesting. It would be interesting though. I wonder if that would ever be cost effective, Scott. Like we talk about these big mowers and how they're really disruptive and noisy a little bit to the camper, right?
Yep.
Like, I wonder how feasible it would be in the future when the costs of some of these things come down significantly to just have every site have their own individual mower locked in like a waterproof box. And when they check out, it just goes boop and does that little site and comes back.
Right. And scoops up any trash or whatever too. It's like,
yeah. I mean, you could put it in the same container that your store is in on the site. There could just be a little like door on the bottom that has the robot lawnmower that's not glass, that nobody knows what's in there, right? And then the rest of the thing could be the store. And so now you have the same infrastructure. We really should start a campground, Scott.
I think so. I mean, considering the cost of site development, it probably wouldn't be a whole lot more on top of it.
No, like I don't even think we need hookups. We could just go after van campers. No, that's fine. We move on. But sorry, she's just saying there's another thing. But so like I think it's really interesting. We had a guy on the show from Fireside Chats earlier who was saying he bought a piece of land in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan or whatever, and like he doesn't have the hookups. He just bought, like, it's a beautiful piece of land that overlooks, I think he said, Lake Superior, and like he has the $200,000 Sprinter vans and tent campers that pull in, and like he makes pretty good money off of it. So I don't know, like I like Canada, Scott, so we could do like a Nova Scotia or something together.
I have my eye on Nova Scotia.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about it after the show. Um, so I don't know if I'm ready for that quite yet, but maybe. I hear that it's a good retirement plan when you're ready to retire, being a campground owner. So, are you ready to retire yet, Scott?
I'm getting there.
Couple more years. Okay.
I'm getting there.
So those kinds of things, right? Like I think if you just look at the guest experience at your park and you step back and realize there are different ways that you can facilitate this through, yes, we're talking about technology today, but just putting yourself in their shoes, whether that's QR codes or whether that's even the Nest thermostats in the cabin that allow them to control their temperature. And yes, I know there's an argument about wasting energy and all that stuff, and maybe that holds valid. I'm not suggesting I know everything, right? But the smart lights that turn on and off when they come in and out of the cabins, there's just so many things that are not easy to put together, but are much easier than scoping out a $5 million water park edition, right? And maybe that water park edition does good things, but there are also other little touch points that can lead to higher satisfaction scores, higher guest satisfaction, saving you on electricity, turning off lights when people leave, mowing the lawns, like, or selling more from your store. Like, and I just think rightfully so sometimes there's not a lot of time for owners to sit down and think about all these things, but then you need to bring in somebody who can, right? Or go to ChatGPT if that's right. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think there's so many opportunities that are being left on the table of revenue that is not just taking of money, but is also making the experience better. What do you think?
Absolutely. It's I mean that to me is kind of the ultimate goal to find those tools, to find those things that are going to make your customer experience better, maybe save you some money. Like I like the idea of the smart cabins, managing the energy usage and all those things that someone has to think of, and it's your personal energy or staff energy and time, which is all money. And the more you can, and we've talked about this on the show before too, the more you can free yourself up, to do kind of the hospitality part, to do the stuff that you can't really automate, that doesn't you don't benefit from. That's what you want, and that's going to just make the guest experience that much better because that's what you're going to focus on.
Yeah, and I think that's the unlock that I think a lot of people can't get themselves to see is and some people can, but a lot of people I talk to can't get themselves to that piece of like, well, here's how the technology is actually going to make the outdoors better. Not even more accessible for sure, right? Like we talk
Mm-hmm.
about AI chatbots, for example, like you don't want to integrate more technology into it, but that's just getting your questions answered, getting them to the booking faster, getting them to the campsite faster, getting them to the outdoors faster, right? That's an easy one to see. But like I just think they can't get over that like this is how it's going to make my life so much easier and so much better. Like all customer support, all customer support globally. If you're, and I'm sorry to hear, if you're the person listening to this, if you are in customer support in any field, your job is gone. Like just like a truck driver will be in 5 years, right? Like there's going to be no need for human beings to answer the phone or chat with people in less than 10 years. It'll be all gone. Probably sooner than that. Like it already can do it today, right? Um, and so like, but those what that unlocks is the ability for, like you were saying, Scott, for your team and everybody to be able to spend more time on the things that make the guest experience better. Whether that's concierge or planning activities or doing the ice cream social or walking around and saying, "Is there anything I can help you with? How you like your stay so far?" Whatever that may be. I think there's just that hard vision of like, how do I get there? And the thing is like there are paths to get there, but there's also an urgency here for you to like this is not in many cases this is not going to be optional for you to participate in. And it's like I think it was last week. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Scott, but like last week, Google put a feature in their search results where you can just click to call. And when you click to call, it'll be an AI calling the business on your behalf to negotiate and gather prices for you.
Mm.
And this is not on every vertical. It's in like, I think I want to say it was in plumbers, or I'll look it up in a second. Let me actually look it up while I do it. But like you'll be able to click to call, Google click to call button. And when you do this, the AI will call and negotiate prices and give you a report back on what it's found. Now that's less friction for the customer, but what that also means is not only a better experience for the guest, because they don't have to spend as much time on the phone, right? But also it's going to be an increase in phone calls, because there are going to be more people who are willing to click that button because they don't have to wait on hold. So then your choice is now, as a campground owner, you do one of a couple things, right? You hire more staff to handle all those phone calls, which is your biggest line item, is your payroll, right? But then those phone calls that are coming in from the AI, you can't ignore them. You can't just be like, I'm not going to talk to an AI on the phone. That AI is going to be representing a person who wants information to come camping with you. And at the start, they might only be Gen Z and then a few millennials, right? But it's going to go quick, especially if it's in Google
Yep.
search results. It's like ignoring car camping, when car camping's like, now it's fine. It's not fine, but now it's more okay to ignore car camping today than if car camping is 100 times bigger than it was. The difference is that car camping is probably not going to get there 100 times bigger than it is. It's going to get bigger. But AI calls like that are going to be 100x in less than a year, and then they're going to be 1,000x, and then 10,000x, and then everybody on the phone is going to be AI. And so, do you want to have a bigger line item on your payroll to answer all those calls, which are further up the funnel? They're not as close to converting as the ones who were calling you already, but you don't know which one is which. So you've got to answer all the phone calls. So you think you're already busy on a Friday afternoon when everybody's checking in at 4 to 6 o'clock. Good luck now. So then your answer is then you have your own AI agent who can answer those calls. And whether that agent is answering with a knowledge base, or taking the full reservation, or even just screening the calls to say, like, I can answer these questions, but then I'm going to forward the person who needs to make a reservation to talk to a human. Like, something's going to have to give.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to have to hire your own AI. Like, this is not going to be optional, guys, or you're not going to be able to keep up. You're just going to be losing business out the door. You talk about the people demanding right now 24/7 service, they'll have every right to in less than a year, because it's going to be possible and it's going to be cheap for you to do this stuff. So, like, I think that that's just, again, one example of many, but I think there's a very clear path to some of this tech making the guest experience much better.
Absolutely. I think it is the future. And people are just going to have to decide, as you just outlined very clearly, what are the necessities, what are the good to haves, you know, what are the ones I need right now, what are the ones I need to anticipate, and which are the ones am I going to look for in the next 2 to 5 years.
I'm trying to see, where did it go? Like, I don't even have news at the top of my thing. They bury news underneath more options now. I can't find this article on Google. Get started with Gemini mobile app. Here's used in Gemini. Anyway, it's a thing. I'll find it at some point. But they announced a button in search results to do that stuff. So, like, yeah, I think you should look at security cameras with facial recognition. I think you should look at, we were talking about before the show, we were talking about Whoop bands, right? Well, like smart bands. Like, I'm wearing a Whoop. Whoop, if you're watching, we desperately need money. If you could just sponsor the show, I will mention you every week. $100,000 an episode, please. So Jessica laughed. Scott will settle for 75,000. We'll negotiate with you. But like these Whoop bands, right? Like, I think you're going to get to a future where, and I want to switch to information in a second, but I think you're going to get to a future where these bands, whether they're bands or whether they're like implants or whether they're from Elon's Neuralink thing, or it monitors through your ear, or it's your smart glasses or whatever, right? Whatever it is, like, I think that health data that you can already collect on a Whoop, or many other smart wrist devices, Apple Watches, stuff like that. You can already share that with apps on your phone. There's nothing stopping you from sharing that with other external sources. So I think you quickly get to a future, maybe not quickly, like in 10 to 15 years, right? Where you are able to share that data with the government or whoever the authority is in charge if you want to. And everybody's probably rolling their eyes. They're like, I don't want to share anything with the government. Get away from my privacy. Well, like we were talking about Scott, like the first time the government is like, well, we've got a fleet of humanoid robots that drive around ambulances 24/7, or they're self-driving ambulances with humanoid robots in the back of the ambulance that are EMT technicians because they can already perform surgeries, right? And if you just share your health data with us, then because of the AI algorithms we have in place, we'll be able to tell 20 minutes before you have a heart attack that you're about to have a heart attack. And before you even do, the robot will be right there standing next to you because we've detected your vitals. How many people do you think are going to be like, I'm not sharing my data with the government then? I would just rather have the heart attack and chance waiting on the ambulance coming. A very small number of people, right? There will be some. But so I think it's like the crazy stuff like that. When I say that I can't see out past 2 years and I pride myself being able to do that, like I'm dead serious. Like this world is going to get crazy as fuck, guys. And whatever we say on this show, whatever we said so far, whatever we're going to say in the future, we are going to be wrong. Like I hope to God we crack up at this, Scott, in like 20 years if we watch this episode. We look back and we're like, look at those idiots. I can't believe they thought we were going to have humanoid robots in 2040. We had them like 6 months after they talked about it, right? Or whatever. So for sure, whatever we say is going to be wrong, but it's going to come so fast, and maybe you do have to adapt to it in the case of phone calls and some things like that. In other areas, it's going to be optional to adapt to it, but there's going to be a lot of money to be made and a lot of good guest experiences to be given if you're willing to look at this stuff and see where it goes. So let's talk about information gathering, and then we'll go to the crazy stuff. So what did you have in your mind when you proposed that I want to talk about the future of information gathering?
For me, it was because of the type of work I do. That one day I asked AI, like, do I even have a future in this? Am I going to have a job?
Yeah.
And the AI came back some really interesting ideas and approaches. And what it made me think about is to kind of even take that to just kind of a different level. Because what I think about now a lot is how we get information from people, how we get them to tell us things, because we still need that. And so basically what I thought of was like with how could AI help you with information gathering? Because really that is the future. That's what it's all about. And one of the things is like adaptive questioning. As someone is answering questions, then you've prompted the AI to, adapt the lines of questioning based on where you want to go with this, what you need, what kind of information. So it's going to do that for you automatically. But what I like to think about even more is the interface. The interface, which is how do you extract that information from that person? How do they give their information? Do they do it verbally? Are they typing it in? Are they pointing and clicking with a mouse? Right now it's mostly, most of the work is they're typing stuff in or they're clicking on it.
Which is why you have a hard time getting survey results and answers, is because nobody likes to do that.
Correct. Absolutely. So my thought process is going in a different direction. Like we're talking about this because it's part of, when we think of data in our industry, we need to have good data, good timely information from people. And how do we do that? Because one of the things that we're looking at right now is our response rates are falling all the time. Um,
I can
as a
have an
result,
AI just answer the surveys for you.
well, and
We just won't tell
that's one.
anybody.
No, that's one of the problems that a lot of companies are dealing with. That's a whole other conversation. But to give you an example, when we first started doing surveys with KOA, over 20 years ago, these were mail-in surveys, paper and pencil that someone would have to fill in, put in an envelope, and mail back to us. And our response rate was 30%. So that means out of every
All
100
right.
surveys, 30 people would respond.
That's really good, isn't it?
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
It's when we started doing online surveys, the response rate was actually fairly close. Because we started doing a lot of the online stuff, probably 15 years ago, and we were getting 20-25% consistently. We are currently, I'll just, without belaboring the issue, I'll fast forward to now. We're happy if we can get above 1% now. So what that means, is that one, you have to ask a lot more people to answer your survey. Two, it means a lot more. You're not getting information from a lot more people who you would like to have information from, because it's a very select group, and we don't want to have selection bias in our results. We end up using a lot of national suppliers and stuff like that, but a lot of people want to talk to their own guests. It's like, how do you talk to your own guests? How do you get them to answer surveys?
Yeah.
So what I'm where I'm heading with all this is, we need to give people a way to respond that doesn't require a lot of effort on their part. It needs to be interactive, but they need to be able to easily give us answers. And this is where I think an AI interface or even console, I don't even know where my head's going with this. It's all over the place, honestly.
That's okay. Look where my head's going. It's going all over the place. We're together.
Is that, like, for example, wouldn't it be kind of cool if someone could sit in front of their computer or have it in their phone in their hands, and a voice says, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely would you be to recommend this campground to someone else? And you say 8. All right, that's recorded. All right, why did you give it an 8? And you say, well, it would have been a 10, but the check-in process was a little slow. And then the AI is like, well, what could have been better about that process? What could they have done a little bit better to help it along? And then the question is, well, would you come back? How likely would you be to come back? Give me your answer on a scale of 1 to 5. And that person can do that. And it's like, well, here, I want to show you some pictures of some, campsites here. Which of these campsites do you like best? Is it A or B? And it could be interactive. It could be a video that you're showing them. It could be, it could be Mark Kep's 360 views or whatever of the campsites. You could be showing them stuff, and they could even. We have the capability now for people to hover over things and heat map it. Like, where do they attend to most when they're viewing something? That exists right now, but it's not really integrated really well into how we gather the data. So,
Yep.
where I'm at with all this is that the technology is changing very fast, and we need to be out there ahead of it. And we need to start implementing some of these things sooner rather than later, because I do feel like we can reinvigorate the interaction we have with people by doing some of this stuff, by making it the research and the information gathering more alive. Right now, it's kind of flat. It's very static. It's very kind of dead, really. And I feel like that's why we lose a lot of people. It's not very interesting in many cases. And I'm doing my own critiques here. So if any of my clients are listening, I'm sorry. But
Well, it's not you. It's not a you specific problem. It's a research specific problem.
it is. It's an industry wide problem that we have right now.
What are you drinking?
It's sparkling water.
Oh, all right.
I wish it was a beer or something, but I feel like I still have a couple days before I still need to recover a little bit here. Hydrate. I need to hydrate.
I'm thinking about having this whiskey here. I haven't decided yet. I'm on
What
the
kind
fence.
is it?
It's Jefferson's Ocean Aged at Sea.
Oh, that's right. I remember you told me about that before. Yeah.
Like I actually haven't had any whiskey since the last time I drank it on the show, which was like a couple months ago. Because
Oh,
we've had
okay.
beers, right?
Yep.
But like, yeah, I stopped drinking quite a bit at night because like I try to focus on my health a little bit more. So like I drink when I go out to breweries and stuff like that. But I stopped drinking at home as much other than a glass of wine once in a while. So I'm trying to decide if I want to like get off my health kick and my high horse and just do it. I think I probably will, but stop being a psychologist. No one pays you to be a psychologist, Jessica. I told you she needs to be like on mic or whatever. So like I don't know. Like it's a fascinating world where information gathering goes. I think that you're not taking it far enough down the chain. Like I think that here we'll open up a whiskey and we'll do it this way.
All right. Got to get the thought process moving here. Yeah.
Well, it'll slow my thought process down. Probably it'll keep my. Like, that's what whiskey's always done for me. Like because my mind goes crazy all the time. Like whiskey has always helped me like calm my mind a little bit and stop thinking so much. So like I think you're not taking this to its near-term potential.
Okay. Well, good. Tell me more.
So let's start with what I was talking about before the show, right? So we were talking about before the show this Whoop band, and we were just talking about a story about how you're going to be able to share it with the government, and they'll be able to send ambulance services, prevent diseases, send stuff before it happens, all that kind of stuff, right? There's nothing to stop that data if it's already out there from a guest pulling into your park and you asking permission for them to share that data with you for the time that they're there during your stay for any number of benefits, right, or whatever else. But then there are going to be AI algorithms, and there will be facial recognition. There already are facial recognition cameras, but there are going to be AI algorithms that will be able to like look at everything that guest is doing, from the security cameras who will already know how long they waited in line, and will use an algorithm and the detection of their body behavior and whether they're slouched or their eyes are closed or they're rolling their eyes or they're messing with their kids or their kids are screaming at them to determine how much that will ding your NPS score. The AI will already know. Well, like you won't even have to ask, right?
Yep.
And then it will know like whether they got lost on the way to their campground and whether that's going to frustrate them and how many points that will ding. It will know if they had an ease of use pulling into their site or they had to pull in and back out and pull in and straighten out and back out, and whether that dinged. Like the cameras will be all over if you want them to be, right? And there's a big, huge problem there with privacy. But especially in the United States, there are virtually no privacy laws that exist, and there is no viable path toward that, especially with all the AI companies and all the like. There's going to be such a willingness on behalf of the public to give away their privacy. There's not going to be any push for more privacy laws. And I think to a certain extent, Canada will be similar. I think that we'll have more regulation up here, but we won't. Like the opposite end of the spectrum is Europe, right? Europe's going to stunt a lot of their AI growth, what they're doing. But so like looking at the consumer behavior through that, looking at the data points you have from their fitness data, does their heart rate go up? Does their stress level go up? Well, how much does that ding your review? Was their stress level low, 0.5, all the way through the stay? Right? Then maybe you get a 4.5-star review or a 4.8-star review. If their check-in process was, and then maybe like, and I'm thinking about this in real time, Scott, right? Like this is not prepped. Like, and maybe people don't even leave Google reviews in the future. Maybe the AI from Google becomes so trustworthy that it uses this score and calculation and automatically gives you a review.
And
like the AI reviews it on behalf of the guest.
And honestly, that's the kind of metric that would be of great use to a campground owner to have, because it's objective. That's the we still need subjective information from people, and that's where we'll always need that, and we'll always get that
Yes, but do
for
you
whatever.
always need to
However,
get that? Now imagine that like they've got a pair of Meta Ray-Ban glasses on or smart contacts, and they allow you temporarily, let's say for a discounted rate, or for an extra night free, or for a buddy coupon to come back, or for a site upgrade, or for whatever, to see through their eyes only when they're outside of their camper in a public place, right? Like walking around your
Mhm.
campground, and then you can get a subjective view too.
Right, and that's that's the mixing of the two, where if you have all these objective measures, wait times, get finding their site, um just think of it, all those different ones of problem resolution, just think you can think of, there's a whole bunch of them you could put in there that are objective, and if you had those and they were automatic, now you have a score, now you have a metric for your campground objectively. You
Mhm.
combine that with the subjective, and what you have is the complete picture of a guest stay and what you can do. Like, I like the idea that you mentioned about being able to kind of address that. It's like, hey, this person just had to wait 20 minutes to check in. The likelihood of them giving you a 10 on the NPS just dropped 3 points. You need to intervene in
No,
some
you
way.
don't even need to intervene. Did you pay for the upgraded package from Gemini or ChatGPT or the robot company to dispatch the robot with a free bundle of firewood and an ice cream cone for the kids that automatically shows up by the time we're there and says, "We're sorry for your experience waiting and checking in.
Right,
Here's a little gift for us." Problem solved. Then your review score goes back up. Did you
right.
pay for that?
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need. It's the service recovery is automated. Um,
Yeah.
and
And that's the thing. Like they're just like there's going to be like, to be clear, there's going to be a line right down the, and I'm on my wrong camera, so you can't see the line down the, switch my other camera, Jessica. Like there's going to be a fucking line right here, okay? And there's going to be people over here who are all into what I just said, and there's going to be people over here who are like, "Fuck you. I'm never giving you any of that shit. You stay away from me. I don't care what my experience is. You're never getting my health data." And it's going to be there's no one who's going to be in the middle, Scott. There's very few people who are going to be in the middle. And those people are going to seriously like have a big beef with each other, right? And like it's going to be a big, much more than campgrounds. It's going to be a societal issue. It's going to be like the Bible story we used to read when we were kids about revolutions and the mark of the beast, right?
mhm.
Something similar to that, except probably not with heaven and hell consequences. But uh, you know, like depending on whether you believe or don't believe, right? But like it's going to be that stark and that different. But there's going to be like that pool of people who say never are the same pool of people who said never to a cell phone, who said never to a laptop, who said never to a smart car, who said never to getting rid of my BlackBerry or to an iPhone, right? And there will always be that never camp. And it will be a significantly larger piece of society than the people who said never a smartphone, for example, or whatever. Um, but it will like that will stick with it permanently, right? They will stick in the never camp for a very long time because of the amount of change that they have to give up in order to allow all that. Like it's going to be all or nothing basically in society,
Mhm.
right?
Right,
And
right.
so there will be people who, rightfully so, if that's what they believe, not criticizing them, will stay in that camp. But it's going to be smaller than people think it will be because of what I just said about emergency services, or like you're going to get to the point where you're going to be sitting around with your family at Christmas and you're going to be talking about like all the different adventures you had. And this is all off the top of my head, by the way, right? Like I have not prepped this at all. You're going to be like sitting around the campfire, or not the campfire, but Christmas at, with your family. And you're going to all be talking about the summer trips that you had. And Tom is going to be like, "Man, I had this great time. We went to this crazy like good campground in Maine, and then we went down to New Hampshire, and then we went over to Vermont, and like my self-driving car picked out this hiking trail that we could stop at along the way, and like I got there and like I had firewood waiting for me because they all knew my behavioral patterns and all that kind of stuff. And then like Sally will be like, yeah, it was so great, like I had this great experience at XX campground, like I didn't know what I was doing, but I went all the way from New York to LA, and we stopped at like 7 places along the way, and they were all like exactly what I wanted to have happen at my experience, right? All 5 stars out of the park. My AI knew everything that I wanted. It knew everything that I was looking for in a campground. It made sure I had the exact parks that were perfect for me. And then, like, I don't know, we'll call her Jessica because Jessica's given me some hassle over there. Jessica's going to be like, I man, that sounds really good. I wish I had had that summer from you guys. Like, I stayed at this terrible campground and it was dirty and unclean and whatever else. And it's all because Jessica refused to let the AI into her life. And when you start to hear that like you could have had this good experience, everybody else is having this good experience, why are you still going to 3.2 rated campgrounds, or the campground that's not a good fit for you, or that doesn't fit your rig in it, or that what, right? As you start to see that peer pressure, as you start to see the health peer pressure and the benefits of doing it, more people are going to turn this thing on so fucking fast, Scott, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's still going to be a holdout. Like, I think it's somewhere around 10 to 15% of society as a whole will refuse in the first 20 to 30 years to adopt this technology. Like any of it, right?
Sure. I don't think that's unrealistic.
And I think forever it stays at 5% at least. And it may even go further than that if it breaks. It depends on how it breaks along religious lines, right? And I'm not picking on religion. I'm not religious, but like nothing wrong with anybody who is, right? It depends on how the different religions view and advocate for or against this technology and whether they're calling it the mark of the beast or they're not. As one example, right? Christianity is not picking on Christianity. But like it depends on how the leaders in religion or the leaders in the political party you follow or the leaders in your community react to this stuff in the beginning of how big that gap will be and how you view the other side of that gap. Because I think there's going to be a lot of vitriol between some of those people too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that shrinks really, really fast when you clearly see the benefits of just giving away your privacy to, and yes, like I agree, there should be regulations, there should be safeguards, there should be laws. Will there be? Probably not. At least not for a long time. Like we still can't regulate Facebook in the United States or Canada or anywhere else, right?
Right.
It'd be a long time if you're holding on for that. Like, and I mean, even now, like you've got the people who are like 23andMe, like millions of people in California have their DNA being sold to another company that they never wanted it to be sold to, but now they own your DNA because they went bankrupt and they own your records and you sent a blood test in, right? That nobody reads the privacy policies and all the things. And so I just think there's going to be this quick switch of like, oh, I can have all of these benefits, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 50, 100, 200, 300, 3,000. And I just have to say yes to this box. And then it knows all the things. But it's a point of no return. You'll never be able to go back from it. Even if you opt out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's maybe too long of a rant, but what do you think about it?
No. But these are the conversations that everyone's going to be having over the next few years because it is going to be. I mean, when you and believe me, I could get on a whole tangent with this, but the acceptance of it is going to be a lot of it will be due at least in part based on telemedicine because there's going to be more and more telemedicine and people are going to be basically hooking themselves up to this stuff because especially in rural areas there aren't going to be any hospitals to deliver care. There
already aren't in a lot of places. Yeah.
So it's like for people to access care and to monitor their care, this is what they're going to do. And as you and I were talking before the show, even people with a chronic condition, especially, they're going to be all on board and they're going to be very comfortable with it because, and many of these folks will have done it for a long time. So I feel like the acceptance will come quicker than many may think.
Yeah, everybody
just for
thinks it's
some
going to
reason.
take them forever to adopt it, but it's not. Like, finish your thought, and then I want to talk about the rural hospitals.
No, because anyway, I was just gonna say, because the fact of the matter is if you want to get an appointment, if you want to get care, if you want to have your health monitored, this is it. This is the future, like it or not.
Yeah, there is no human available within a 200-mile radius of you
right.
who's a doctor. Like, there is humans who's a doctor.
Right.
Who's going
Or
to be
you
able
can
to
access like a really high level physician through telemedicine. Yeah,
Well, it's all going to be robots, right? Like, that's the thing with telehealth, right? Like, the first early example that I can remember about telehealth was the Alexa thing, where you could have it monitor for like your grandma or something falling, and you could drop into them and check on them. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first early example. I mean, that was the step up from the, I don't know, I've fallen and I can't get up thing, whatever that company was. I can just remember their tagline. I can't remember the name, but like that was the step up from that. But if you look at telehealth now, they've already got robots who are performing surgeries autonomously, not controlled, like autonomously. I forget there was one, I can't remember what country it was in. I think it was in the US. Like or maybe it was China. They did a whole gallbladder surgery autonomously. The surgeon was there watching the robot, but did not touch it, did not instruct it, was not remote hands, was not anything, right? And these surgeons are not going to make mistakes. Like, when they get good enough, they're not going, or they're going to make way, like 100,000 times fewer mistakes than a human doctor would, right? They're not going to sew you up with scissors inside you by mistake.
Right.
You know? And so, and this is part of your adoption point, right? And we're so far off topic here from what we wanted to talk about, but that's okay. Like, the audience is just going to have to either roll with us or whatever. We'll get back to campgrounds in a second. But this goes to everything, right? Like, you've got these robots that are not going to make mistakes. So then you get to the point where, and I have this debate with my girlfriend frequently because she's a respiratory therapist in a hospital. Not frequently, once in a while we've had this debate, where I said, like, hospitals are basically going away. Like, there will still be large institutions that specialize in cancer research and things like that. And certainly if you like break a leg, there's going to be a place for you to go, right? Like, there's going to be an emergency room. But for the regular checkup, for the blood draws, for the specialist stuff, for the whatever else, for most of that stuff, it's gone. And when you get to the point where, like, and the peer pressures on the hospitals too, right? So the frequent rebuttal is with the hospitals, at least up here, the hospitals are government run, right?
Right.
But like, or many of them are up here. But when you get to the point where the decision is like, do I want to go to a hospital that's run by humans that has an 85% chance of curing and detecting and solving my cancer? Or do I want to go to the one completely run by AI robots where I won't have the human touch, but has a 94% chance of detecting and solving my cancer? Where do you think everybody's going to go? The hospital that has the AI. And so then every other hospital is going to be like, oh shit, we're losing all our patients. And we have 6% worse outcomes. It's going to be higher than 94%, right? It's going to be 98 or 99%. And then all the other hospitals are going to fall in line down the thing. And so you're going to get to that point that's what's going to push everything forward, is the outcomes of health. And the same thing with the Whoop band that we talked about for calling the emergency services. But you talk about telehealth, like, they're going to be humanoid robots in your house. And whether it's in a chest cavity or whatever else, right? You'll have a medical model or that'll be able to open up its little chest or its drawer and its stomach or whatever. And it'll be like, hey, it's time for your blood draw. Let me take that. Let me put that in here and swab it. And I can just go bloop, 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 and analyze it or send it off. Or like, if it's a full blood vial, like I take some at-home blood tests once a month to monitor because I'm really big into supplements, and I mail them in, but there's only certain things you can get in an at-home blood test because you can't draw a whole vial, right?
Right.
So there's going to be certain things where you need that whole vial. So then, but the robot will still draw the whole vial. It'll just have to ship it UPS or whatever the shipping service is, or it'll take it outside to the drone, and the drone will come pick it up and it'll fly it to the lab and it'll be there in 10 minutes. And then you'll get your answer in an hour instead of instantly. but like it'll be able to do all the things a doctor can do. It'll be able to look at you. It'll be able to take your blood pressure. It'll be able to take your temperature. It'll be able to diagnose you. It'll be able to do all that shit for you. And you're going to want it because like there's so many millions of people in Canada and the United States who just have never experienced the level of care that somebody in a major city has access to. Expensive and ridiculous as it is in the United States, like it's still like they just haven't. They don't have that and it's not that they don't have good doctors. There's just not enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like I mean, you're right. Like it's those intangibles like that will drive. And when we go back to campgrounds, right? And this all is the same thing for all the people who are wondering, like, why are we going down this rabbit hole? Why are we talking about different things? Because we're not just talking about campgrounds. We're talking about the fact that people are going to get comfortable with AI in healthcare, in business, in every interaction they have with a customer service department, in everywhere. All of the things in all of their lives, in all of the places, there's going to have AI movie TV shows and AI music and AI books, and AI like is going to interior decorate for them. And they're going to have a humanoid robot in their house 24/7, and they're going to have glasses on, and AI is never going to be apart from them. And so you like this is not a conversation about how long is AI going to take to be adopted in the campground industry. If it was, we'd be backing off a little bit. It'd be a lot slower because the campground industry traditionally has taken a longer time than many other industries do it. It's going to permeate everyone's life everywhere in all facets, and it's going to become an expectation. That's why it's going to go so quick. Thoughts, Scott?
Sorry, I had a little bit of a scratchy throat thing going on there.
It's all right. I tried to time it, but I like got it.
No, you were pretty good. No, you were pretty good. Yeah, it is just a matter of for
This whiskey is really strong, by the way. I don't mean to like. If you don't drink whiskey for like 4 months, it becomes stronger. Are you okay?
Yeah. It's just a scratchy throat, just from stuff in the air and whatever. The way this is gonna sound maybe like a lame comparison, but I remember several years ago when we did some research on mobile apps, and all everyone could say was that it was going to be several years before people would really use mobile apps.
Yeah,
and that it's like there's no sense in pushing it forward, especially if your clientele is older, the older generations. It's like they're not going to use mobile apps. And I'll never forget this. I remember someone saying, it's like, people said this about the internet, but the people flooding the internet now are older people. And people know now, to this rate now, in fact, like Facebook is loaded with old people. But with the mobile apps, so we did some research, and what we found is that spontaneously people were asking for mobile apps. They were like, why don't you have the mobile app yet? We want to book campsites on a mobile app. And the question was asked to me, it's like, well, this must be the younger people. It's like, no, these are older people. These are retirement age people. They want the mobile app. And so the mobile app had to be fast tracked because the market, it was going faster than people thought it would. And once people experienced one mobile app, it spiraled. Once they started using any of them, they got comfortable with the format. The phones were getting better. It's like, and it snowballed from there. And people started fast tracking their mobile apps, and here we are today. And I feel like all this is the same way. It's
except 1,000 times faster.
Right. Except it will be faster. Again, I think once a person has that first experience with it, and they realize it's like, oh, that wasn't too bad, and everything's probably cool here. My information is probably as private as it would have been in a private office visit. Let's face it, that's probably the truth. Yeah. And they're going to be, okay, sure. Now let's try something else. It's and what that will do is now the industry itself will put more resources into it, and they'll put more resources into developing, the apps, like the hoop thing you were talking about too, the, having, that type of application. And then from there, once those things are developed, the rest will carry over into the private sector in terms of, using those things for like a guest experience, looking, at how we're going to manage that, how we're going to ensure people's safety, security when they're on site, how we're going to, manage the stay, but also how we're going to gather information from people. And again, as they're more comfortable with it, and they'll be more comfortable sharing their information, and we're going to be, in much better shape in terms of getting a much more accurate picture of the guest experience overall.
Like, I think it's been a month and a half, maybe a smidge longer, since we've had in our AI chatbots full reservations with CampSpot available, where you can do the whole reservation with AI, right? And we're moving on to other platform providers soon. But we have one park that we're measuring that we ran the numbers today, and in a month and a half, they have over $8,000 in reservations that came just through the chatbot.
Oh, wow.
Like, people want this stuff. They want to engage this way. Is it the majority of your customers? Probably not. But it's just like the early days of online reservations, except it's not going to take anywhere close to that long before they start demanding that stuff.
No.
Because the ease of entry, right? It's the ease of entry. It is the fact that this is being put in Google search. It's literally going to be everywhere except for Apple devices, because they suck so bad. Like, I don't know how to, like, who is left that's an Apple fanboy who's like, Tim Cook is the innovator. This company is a mess. Anyway, sorry. Like, I don't know what they're doing, but like, it's already on WhatsApp, it's already on Instagram, it's already on Facebook, it's already, and the ease of use with which this thing is going to be done. Let's show this video again, Jessica. Let's do the intro to agent one that we didn't play before. Let's share that one. And like, this OpenAI released this last week. I think it was Wednesday or no, it's Thursday of last week, Scott.
So we have been on this journey of like not just improving our models, but the tools the model can use. And it's kind of like a symbiosis of some kind. Like, the better the tools are, the better the agent can use it. The better the agent is, the more powerful tool it can use, and it like goes on and on.
Every once in a while, I'm just, taken aback by it a little bit. It does something that I didn't expect, or it's better than I realized. Yeah, I probably have that moment like once a week at least.
I'm going to show you an example where the agent sources information on the city of San Francisco's annual budget, expenses, and revenues.
I want to plan a date night with my fiance.
Can you help me research options for office openings in Singapore?
Book me an itinerary to go to a tennis tournament in like Palm Springs next year.
It goes on by itself. I usually just close my laptop, go grab a coffee.
Now we've provided it with both visual browser, which it can use to click around, and it also has the text browsers.
It has its own file system and everything. It needs to try to read the PDFs and figure out where the data is.
The first thing that it needs to do is actually figure out what the tournament dates are.
Once it gathered everything, you'll see it start to create a PowerPoint.
Then it figured out it takes about an hour to go from here to SFO because of the traffic.
You can give it these connectors so it then can understand who you are.
When the agent is ready, it'll send you a notification on your phone or on your laptop.
And let me just open it now.
It's found this restaurant, Kusakabe. It's a great choice.
It found really good images of potential office spaces.
It also formatted the Excel workbook as I instructed it to.
It did pretty well.
I would say just try it out. If it can do 95% of the actual time-consuming part of the work, that's going to save you a ton of time.
Okay. So this is the baby, right? There are already things that are better than this. There's a software company called Manus that's out of China that actually is better than this and has been out for like 6 or 7 months. And I think OpenAI is just playing the safety game a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is the baby. Like what comes next is there's a company we've talked about before called Perplexity that has AI search that has released a browser called Comet that I probably will download next week. You have to be part of their $200 a month subscription, so I'll probably pay it once and then cancel it just to download the browser, because I have so many of these things, right? I just don't use it enough. But they have a browser that you can download that replaces Chrome, that has AI in the sidebar that you can type in there, and you can say, like, take full control of my browser and go not just do what it did and research all the tickets and check my calendar and do all that, but actually go book the restaurant, book the thing, post a tweet on X or whatever you call an X on X or whatever that, I don't know what it's called. You post a thing on X, whatever. It's not a tweet anymore, but like it will do all the things. It will take all the actions for you all by itself. It'll do everything for you. Jessica, you know we have an AI agent at the company that automatically does social posts, right? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, you guys couldn't hear what she said. She needs a mic, but she was just talking about a company that was doing agents and stuff like that too. Like this stuff is just so convenient and so easy to use for people, and it will be in Chrome, just like it is in Google search and will be even more in Google search. If you go to google.com, you can probably do this, Scott, you're in the US. If you go to google.com right now and you look on the top, on the right side of Google in search, do you see the AI mode button there?
Yes, I did.
Everybody in the US who goes to google.com, if you type in a search and you click on AI mode, there's no blue links anymore. They're gone. It's here. It's being forced in front of everybody. And to the people who took forever to forever, quote unquote, in my air quotes that are justified in Scott's research, who took forever to do the app adoption and to demand those, have it now. It's being forced in front of them everywhere. Like Alexa Plus has 180 some million active devices in people's houses that Alexa's AI is being installed on as we speak. Like it's going to be it is already on all the Android phones in the world. Again, like I feel like the Apple people are going to be like, they're going to be like the cavemen who like got introduced to electricity and missed 200 years between the fire and electricity. Like, oh shit, you can do that? Anyway, but it's literally everywhere. And Apple does have it, to be clear. Like Siri does. Apple doesn't have their own good models, but Siri on like hundreds of millions of devices, as people upgrade to new iPhones, and you ask Siri a question, and Siri doesn't know the answer because Siri doesn't know the answer to anything. But it will fall back to ChatGPT, and they won't go to Google. This is the behavior of people. Like and there's a difference here. Like there's a great video, I think I sent it to you, Scott, about Ezra Klein, and I never even finished it. Ezra Klein from the New York Times was talking to a Gen Zer, and I really want to go back and finish that show. So hopefully I'll be able to do that tonight. And he was talking to them about their perspective on AI and a few other things. And one of the things they said was just like, this is completely changing the way we interact. Like we're not using this to just trip plan. We're using this to make life decisions. Like, I mean, this is so fat. You can go to a restaurant, and if you open up your ears and you listen to the older couple at the table next to you, and you can hear them, like I've heard conversations like this, where you can overhear people saying like, hey, are you still using Google for your search engine? These are like 90-year-old people who are like ChatGPT. Like, and so I don't know what the percentage of people here who don't use ChatGPT on a daily basis is. I think it's probably still like 70-80% of people in the world. But this stuff is permeating your guests. It's permeating everywhere. And you must pay attention to this. It is moving so fast. And you're going to look back at this podcast and the things we say in the next 25 minutes when we get to the future, or you're going to be like, those guys are batshit crazy. They were completely wrong. But right now, this is not wrong. This is not, you're going to look back at this. And I've posted a couple posts on LinkedIn where I've typed at the bottom, or I've resisted typing at the bottom, like this post is going to age well because I'm like, it's a little too cocky. I won't put that there, right? But like they're going to age really well. You're going to go back and look at them. You're going to be like, oh shit, like Brian or Gary Vaynerchuk or like all these other AI people who are really smart on LinkedIn, much smarter than me, who were saying the same thing to me over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I missed 15 years of what could have been 200x profit because I refused to listen and adopt and think it was going to take forever. And it's the same pattern. It's not a new pattern with AI. It's the same pattern that came with the smartphone, and the same pattern that came with the apps, and the same pattern that came with crypto, and the same pattern that came with everywhere, right? Go talk to somebody who was like, yeah, I bought Bitcoin in 2011. Back in 2011, when I did that, everybody was like, haha, you're going to lose all your money. You're a jokester. You're stupid. Who the heck would buy crypto? What the heck's crypto? And the 11-cent Bitcoin is worth $120,000 now. Like, it's a repeatable, clear pattern. And the behavior doesn't change, and society doesn't change, and everybody will still be like, they don't want to believe it because it's too much change and it's too much whatever. And they'll retreat backwards. Like the worst part about all this, Scott, is they won't just stay flat, they'll retreat backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I posted about this on LinkedIn the other day too. We have had a couple clients, and there will probably be more. And we expect that, and we're okay with that because we're hard pivoting to an AI company. But we have had several people on the marketing side who don't understand what we're trying to tell them. Like, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, so it's uncertain. But we've done a lot of research, and I'm a geek, and I'm obsessed with this stuff, and we're pretty sure that this plan is going to put you 6 years ahead of everybody else. And they don't get it, and they don't comprehend it. Not because they're not intelligent, but because they just don't understand the ability of things to change that fast, as 95% of humans don't, right? It's not a lack of intelligence. It's just a lack of, I don't know what it is, right? I'm the outlier. I'm the weird one, okay? But they will leave, and they will go to the safety of an agency, in my case, or in many other cases, the same. It's all like lawyers, accountants, whatever, right? They will seek the safety of the agency who tells them Brian's full of shit. Nothing is going to change. SEO is going to be the same. There's always going to be humans browsing your website for the next 15, 20 years. That guy's crazy. And they will go to that agency, not because there's anything wrong with me. Sometimes I do bad things. We all do, right? But because it is safer, because just like people don't travel when it's uncertain in the time of presidential elections, it's the same thing. People hate uncertainty. And so if you're offered an out to an agency who says it's not going to change, it gives you that out to say, okay, well, here's another expert who's telling me that it's not going to change. I might as well go with them because they'll keep delivering me the same reports and the same analytics and the same false data that I've been paying attention to that shows my marketing is working, and I don't have to do anything different. And so I think there's not just going to be a flattening, there's going to be a retreat into like you were already, and I'm not talking about me, right? I'm talking about generally.
Right.
There's going to be a retreat from like I'm here at a baseline, but I want to go backwards because backwards is safer, because even today is it's not safe anymore. And it'll happen the same with consulting. It'll happen the same with everything. So, all right, do we want to spend 20 minutes talking about the crazy future? Or?
Sure, let's do it.
So I can stop ranting like a preacher. I feel like a preacher.
It's all right.
Not a good preacher. Like 99% of preachers out there are better than me. I guarantee it. But all right, so we have like a couple things. I ran a couple prompts on AI here. And so what I said, Jessica, if you want to share the screen over here. Take another sip of whiskey. Why is it showing black? Oh, that's because my little thing isn't hooked up. I came back from the cabin, Scott, and nothing is hooked up. No, this is for sure a Jessica error somehow. Somehow this is a Jessica error. Tell her, Scott.
It's not a Jessica error.
See if that works. Do you see it now? There we go. All right.
There we go.
All right. So, so I gave it this prompt, right? I said, Okay, now I need a brief on what will change from 2025 today to 2050. Not cookie cutter boring things. What really will change? Think about flying cars, automations, robots, schooling. Kids have more time to travel. Universal basic income that causes everyone to have more time to travel. Nuclear fusion, like a super deep dive into what is likely to happen, with specific reasons why, where the technology is today, how it will progress, when it might be available to campgrounds, etc. Robot lawnmowers, humanoids cleaning their parks, how this will all impact the guest experience. How do you maintain the human touch, like I talked about, and not let technology overtake that? How do you enhance the outdoor experience while not getting in the way? What will nature experiences be like? What will hiking be like? Not full of tech, but complemented by it. How will people visit campgrounds? How will they research? How will they discover them? Will their autonomous car drive them or be their camper in futuristic rest stops? Solar panels, drone deliveries, stores at campgrounds, electric hookups, sewer, amenities, swimming pools, entertainment, everything, right? Deep dive into it. But here's what it gave me. And this is O3 Pro we used. Thought for 6 minutes and went out and researched this stuff. I should have probably done a deep research run, but I didn't run that. So, future-proofing roadmap. Every section explains 1, the tech or socioeconomic driver, 2, where it is in 2025, 3, the realistic adoption milestones, and 4, the concrete impact on private campgrounds' P&L and guest experience. Time bands are early 2025 to 2030. I think I only did to 2050. 2030 to 2040 and 2040 to 2050. So early, mid, and late. So first we have autonomous tow vehicles. Waymo, Tesla, full self-driving, Class C pilots. 2025 status, L4 robotaxis in a few cities. So this is your robotaxis, your Waymos, right?
Yep.
Prototype self-parking travel trailers. They do have those, right? And Lippert and a few other things. 2030 to 2040. Now, keep in mind, 2030 to 2040. This is less than 5 years from now, okay? Highway autonomy for RV chassis. Software as a service fleet that repositions empty RVs for one-way rental. So think about this, right? Like you can do a one-way rental and it'll just then drive itself back to where you started without you.
I love that idea.
Yeah. Personal autonomy becomes insurance mandated. So this is, I'm not sure what this means, but I feel like what this means is like you have to be be autonomous or what? I don't know what that means. I meant to ask it and I never ask a follow-up. But personal autonomy becomes insurance mandated. 30% of rig arrivals drive themselves to the site. 30% by 2040. It might be quicker than that, but it might not be. Like the manufacturing is going to be the bottleneck, right? That's going to be the only bottleneck. The tech will be here much sooner. Campground impact. Guests arrive stress-free, higher ancillary spend. Valet-less pull-throughs justify narrower staff windows. So you have data on this, right, Scott? If they arrive stress-free, they spend more?
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to another one. EVTOL, flying cars. Joby, Archer, Lilium, etc. FAA certification flights begin in 2025 and 2026. Range of 100 miles. This is happening right now. This is not the future. Past is me sipping my whiskey. The future is me putting my glass down. Like I did that. 2030 to 2040. Regional skyports every 50 to 75 miles. Like, I'm assuming these probably aren't ports in the air quite yet, but these are skyports on top of buildings, right? Probably, or something like that, or in fields or whatever, right? So regional skyports every 50 to 75 miles. The cost to take a flying taxi in 2030 to 2040 will be the equivalent of today's Uber XL. This is a conservative estimate, okay? 2040 to 2050 range greater than 200 miles. Hybrid lift, craft, carry, glamp pods. So I guess, I don't know if that means delivery of the glamp pods or just like maybe you take your own, or you have a glamp pod delivered to like a remote corner of the forest where you just go, right? Campground impact, parks within 5 miles. This is really fascinating. Parks within 5 miles of a skyport add helipad style pads and premium landing fees. Creates true weekend micro getaways for urban millennials. If only someone had ever talked about that idea on a show before, Scott. Autonomous motorhome rest stops. None exist today. In 2030 to 2040, an OEM concept vans that double as hotel pods during charging. That's where I got the Tesla idea, by the way. I didn't come up with that. I did come up with the Tesla and all the pull into campgrounds, but like self-driving 2040 to 2050, self-driving Class Bs circle scenic roads at night and drop guests by day. Overnight transit model decouples demand from geography. Parks market resource hubs, water, waste, and experience add-ons instead of just pads. What do you think about that, Scott?
Interesting. That kind of helps eliminate the need for all those campsites, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Or finding the place. I mean, if you're on an overnight trip or whatever, it's it's literally a moving accommodation.
And now you turn your park into, you already have your land in a pretty good place if you bought a good campground, right?
Yep.
Now you just have an experience hub for people. And that will have charging stations and experiences and all kinds of things, right? And people are certainly going to still want to hang out for a couple days in certain places. But yeah. Operations and workforce. Human-robot hybrids. 2025, we have Roomba scale turf bots and pool vacs. Tesla Optimus is in beta. 2030, well, by 2030, this is not a range. By 2030, in less than 5 years, $15,000 humanoid robots doing linen change at chain hotels. That's the price floor for campground housekeeping. 2040 CapEx parity, 4-year cost of a robot equals 1 seasonal employee. I think it'll be quicker than that. It'll depend on manufacturing, but 2050, 60 to 70% of repetitive tasks, mowing, bathhouse scrub, trash run, handled by dexterous robots. Again, I think it's going to be quicker than that. I think the only bottleneck here is the making of the bots, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Humans refocus on guest storytelling, craft classes, and event hosting. Mitigation for cold tech feel. Visible humanity. Schedule ranger-led night hikes, live music, and campfire circles. Transparent tech. Give robots names and badges. Let guests request demos. Turn novelty into amenity. Staff shift. Recruit experienced curators, ex-teachers, naturalists. Pay from labor savings. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Are you paying attention, Scott, or did I bore you?
I'm totally paying. No, I'm totally paying attention. I'm reading it.
Okay. You're not supposed to read. You're supposed to listen to my eloquent, deep, podcasty style voice.
No, I'm just kind of processing. Like, for example, a lot of this really, what it's telling you is that the focus is on the experience. The technology is going to free it up to do that. For the staff, and to change completely, in some cases, completely change the business model.
Yeah. Like we were talking about on MC Fireside Chats, I believe the human experience is going to be important. Who says the human experience needs to come from staff? The human experience could be the human having a good experience at your campground.
And it could be with other guests, too.
With other guests, or still immersed in nature, or whatever, right?
Yep.
Again, I'm not suggesting that that's the world I want to live in or the one I think all campgrounds are going to go to. But it's a conversation starter. AI management stack. Revenue AI is already here. Evolves into fully autonomous park CEO as a service. Budgets, staffing rosters, and supply orders. We can already build that today for parks. Conversational ops. Site Norabot handles 90% of pre-arrival questions. Done. We've launched that 2 years ago. Escalates only high emotion issues to humans. Also done. Handles emergency queries. And can actually send a text message to your manager if there's like a bear on site or something that's an emergency. Predict and prevent maintenance. IoT sensors and predictive AI schedule plumbing fixes before leaks. And robots perform the patch. There's already smart home sensors that you can put on pipes that detect leaks. That can notify you. Like all this stuff exists already today. Energy, utilities, and infrastructure. Solar vehicle to grid. Current carport arrays, 25% property load. Ramp up EV pedestals become bi-directional by 2032. campsite batteries and pedestal base. That's interesting. 2050 reality. Campgrounds operate as microgrids, sell peak power back, or tote electrons to trailheads via mobile packs. Why it matters, energy flips from a cost item to a revenue line. You think that's possible?
It is the idea of selling it back to the grid, though, is probably not going to happen, because I think they'll be ahead of that. In some areas, they've already kind of nixed that.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it's like, yeah, you're going to have power, and the use of it, like taking the electrons to trailheads or for whatever else, that's where it's at. It'll just be a very different array.
Nuclear microreactors, Oklo and NuScale. Today, they are in the licensing phase. First 15 megawatt units, 2029 at mining sites. Ramp up 2035 to 40 remote Alaska resorts. 2050 reality, fusion microplants post 2045 in high demand clusters. Only mega resorts adopt them. Smaller parks rely on cheap renewables. Water and waste loops, smart meters, and vacuum sewer pilots are currently available. Ramp up is on-site electrochlorination and gray water bioreactors. In 2050, near closed loop, 90% reuse, compost solids, carbon credit sale. Slashes utility expense, marketing halo for the eco-traveler. Like, we're talking about getting rid of a fundamentally huge portion of the expenses of running a campground. Not just from a utility perspective, electricity, water, recycling, whatever. Like, yes, there's going to be cost outlays to build all this stuff, right? But a big significant chunk of your payroll too. I
Right.
get this is taboo. Nobody wants everybody to lose their job. I'm just telling you that this is probably what's going to happen. If you wanted to, and if you don't want it to, you're going to have to charge higher prices than your competitors who do to pay the bills. Guest experience and recreation, nature tech symbiosis, AR overlays. In the early 30s, optical HUD glasses translate bird songs in real time. That would be interesting for Greg. Outline constellations on night hikes. Haptic trail guides. See, like, wouldn't you do something like that? You wouldn't want to, like, I know you want to find the constellations, and I do too, right? But wouldn't that be kind of just cool to just say, like, oh shit, I didn't even realize what I was looking at?
I know I do it with an app right now on my phone, but so I'd probably do something like that.
Haptic trail guides in 2040. Tactile ankle bands vibrate when you stray from the path. No litter of signage. Sensor-free analog zones. Premium loops guarantee zero Wi-Fi or 5G shielded pods for digital detox. Charged at top ADR. There you go. You want to go to an analog zone? Like, we'll sell you a little thing to make it analog.
That's a topic, and we can maybe talk about this at some other point. But I think I sent you a link to an article from Wired magazine that there are these teen digital detox camps happening right now as we speak. That the people are sending their kids to. So this kind of thing is happening right now. And actually, in my AI searches, I did it. Will there be a rise of Luddites, of Luddite camping? So there will.
That's going to be the split. It's going to be the split I talked about, right?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Adventure as a gear service. Drones drop pre-ordered e-mountain bikes or inflatable kayaks at the site pad. I didn't even, to be clear, I didn't even read this. Like, I know it sounds like I read this. I didn't read this before I was spouting my mouth early on the show. AI sizing kiosks, 3D print custom orthotic insoles overnight in the rec hall. Like,
that's something I feel like could happen right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That can happen right now too. Like, but you're talking about, like, there's a game I'm not a big gamer, but there's a game I'm playing that, like, I like very few of these, but there's one called Death Stranding 2 that I'm playing right now. It's about the end of the world, and there's like some kind of, I don't know, leak between like the dead people and the live people or whatever. But it's basically about the guys rebuilding the network to connect the cities from what used to be America. And you're a porter and you travel, like, you carry a bunch of shit from city to city and you convince them to join your network and whatever else, right? But one of the tools they have in the second sequel is you can just, it's like a briefcase or whatever, you pop it open and it 3D prints you like a watchtower or like a little place to rest and relax along the side of the road. Like those things are 30, 40 years off, right?
Mhm.
Maybe a little bit longer, but they're going to be there to 3D you just put it in your backpack and it'll just be like nanobots or whatever. I know this sounds crazy. It'll just be like nanobots who will come out and will just build you this shelter for the night. And there you go. And then you just pack it up and then you'll be able to backpack with even more things, right?
Yep.
Amenities and revenue extenders. Pickleball, lazy rivers today. 2030 to 40. Mixed reality climbing walls showing Mars vistas. Sauna pods with an AI breath coach. 2050. Hyper-local biome domes. Simulated rainforest humidity, desert sky clarity from microclimate therapy. Here's what I want to do, Scott. We need funding for this. So this is going to be for our campground. So get a hold of like all the rich people that you know that just give you all the money all the time and tell them I want to build like a all season campground in Nova Scotia that has like a biodome. Like you go to the rainforest, like the botanical gardens. There's a desert biodome and there's a tropical garden biodome. And inside each one is a cabin you can stay for the night. You can stay in a tropical rainforest. You can stay in a desert climate. You can stay in whatever. I guarantee you could rent those for like $1,000 a night.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Food Trucks Cafe, drone delivered meal kits cooked on smart fire rings in 2030 to 40. Like that's not that far away. I used to have a June oven. I still do in storage somewhere. I think I used to have a June oven that was like a smart oven back in the day that would download recipes and would know what was in the oven and sense it and cook it exactly. Like one of those smart convection ovens or whatever. Like,
Yep.
That's not that far off where a drone can deliver a meal kit. Like, let's pretend, like, do you remember, what was it? There was an old school show that did that where like, I can't remember what it was. There was an old school show where like they had like the little Pizza Hut box that was like this small and they put it in their little microwave and it turned into a pizza. I can't remember what it was. It was a really old show, but one of the futuristic shows. But like when it comes there and like delivers like a meal kit and then just lands on the smart fire ring and then cooks it according to the recipe that both things know because they're all connected to the AI network. Right?
Yeah.
Protein grown on site by cellular agriculture pods. Chef bot sears to order. Yep. Have a chef bot just that's an upsell for your campground, right?
Does the whole like Benihana thing and with the
Yeah. Do you want to have the experience? Sure. Like for an extra $100 a night or $100 tonight at dinner, the chef bot can show up. It will build your fire for you. It will take the delivery from the drone of whatever ingredients that you need from the grocery store, and it will make you whatever you want right at your campsite. Gift shop t-shirts, on-demand textile printers customizing logos to guests' AI avatar. Interesting. NFT souvenirs that unlock discounts at 6 sister parks. We can do that already. Discovery research and booking. Search replaced by agents 2027 to 2035. Guest command planned a 4-night stargazing trip within 4 hours. EV friendly, budget $800. Outcome, AI broker scrapes open APIs, negotiates bundles, pays, sends a dynamic itinerary that auto updates for weather. What do you think about that? I think we just looked at the agent doing that.
Yeah, I think so. Is it like I feel like that's right now, isn't it?
Yeah. Reputation 2.0, blockchain verified review tokens, curb spam, sensors auto upload cleanliness scores. Parks carry a trust score that influences AI agent recommendations more than human reviews. I swear to God I didn't read this. I really didn't. On-chain micropayments, smart contract deposits settle instantly, no chargebacks. Loyalty, their campgrounds are like that. Loyalty perks tradable across multi-park alliances. Like so many people don't have a loyalty program and they should. Like a good loyalty program.
A good one, a real engaging one.
Like I'm not talking about I offer a 10% discount if you're a member of my. I'm talking about like I put together one. I should dig this up. I wish I had this somewhere. Do you remember Diane, who used to own the Springfield Route 66 KOA? Diane, and I can't remember her husband. She was the president of the OA board for a while. Diane somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
I do know who you're talking about. Yep.
I sent her in 2012 or 13 an idea to revamp the whole KOA loyalty program. And obviously it never went anywhere. But it involved like site upgrades and like all the things like to make it a real amazing loyalty program that was tiered. And I don't think KOA corporate ever saw it, to be clear, right?
Probably.
But that you need a good, strong loyalty program that's more than just a discount club. And that's not a dig at anybody, right? But do we want to quickly go through some more of this, or we want to call a hard stop?
Let's call it, because there's a couple things I'd like to talk about next time too in this topic, if we can continue it.
All right, we'll call it part 2 then, and we'll actually do some more research.
I have a few things I'd like to bring to the table too. I think it would be pretty interesting to build on. I think this is a great topic. I do.
Yeah.
I think this is of interest. It's like you said, some of it is, you try to get out there a little bit, but some of it is very realistic. And there's there's a few things that I've looked up and I think would be really, really interesting to talk about.
Okay, cool. So to be continued next week. Any final thoughts on what we talked about today?
No, this is like I said. I love this topic. I think it's the thinking that people need to be doing right now, because as an industry we tend to, I'm going to say we overall tends to be a lot more reactive than proactive, and it's like right now we're in an era that people really need to be looking ahead and anticipating things, because the changes are happening too rapidly. And there's some great stuff happening. There's some great opportunities for campground owners to get out ahead of this, some of this stuff, and to start pilot testing it, maybe find some funding. Maybe that's a topic we talk about, how to get funding to maybe do those on-site kiosks with the food, stuff like that. Anyway, I think this is a topic that's super timely and relevant to anyone out there.
Is the campground of the future, did they trademark that?
I don't think so.
Okay. I can't think of anything better to call it. I think I'm going to start like LinkedIn videos, if I can remember, every morning. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I don't know if we'll do it every morning, but I've been thinking about doing little like AI bits in the morning about like, here's what I'm reading today. Here's what's coming across my desk. Here's what I think is interesting. The problem I have is like I typically like read all my news at night and then I forget about it, or I get busy, or right, it's not in the moment, or if I'm skimming an article, like whatever. But I think what would really be interesting is to force myself to like date myself. Like I like you, as you can see on the show, I think in real time. And I would like to just pick a topic, like have it make a list of like 100 things that could possibly happen in the future at a campground.
Mm-hmm.
And then just pick one and just run whatever comes out of my mouth on LinkedIn for like 2 minutes, and we'll just call it the campground of the future thing. And I'll just like, we'll see how well those date. It would be really interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I think this is a topic we can talk about a lot more, and it's exciting.
All right,
I have a lot to process still, and my brain isn't 100% functioning right yet. So
we'll have some whiskey, man. Otherwise,
I think I'm gonna
see you
have
next week on another episode of Outwired.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.